Hey y'all, I'm James Wright, and what in the world is this thing? It's a plane on a stick. A stick plane! This is the Stanley No. 70 box scraper. Can you remind me again what a box scraper is? To put it simply, a box scraper scrapes boxes. Honestly, that's what it does. In every one of your houses, you have a collection of boxes. Boxes that are really nice. If I need to ship something, that's just about the perfect size. If I need to store something, it's just about the perfect size. They all have stickers on them. Information that sends this box to your house. If I were to put something in here to ship off to someone else, there's a good chance that it's going to come right back to my house because it's got that information on there. So what do? We make sure to take off all the stickers. We want to make this box like brand new so that we can send it back out. But long before cardboard boxes, they had wooden boxes or crates. This one even went to an A.L. Becker in Freeport, Illinois. And a really interesting thing about the way the world works, if you're someone who ships things, you make things and deliver them to other people, then that means you also receive things that you can then take and turn into something you're going to make and send off. And a lot of times you can take the packaging from the things you receive and repackage them and put the things you make into it and send it off. But if you buy things from company A, and you're company B, you don't want company A's information on here when you sell it off to someone else. You want to put your own information on here. Unfortunately, A.L. Becker got this box, but if I want to send it off to someone else, I want to get that off of there. Unfortunately though, ink on wood doesn't come off with an eraser. I can't peel a sticker off. Someone literally painted on this box. So I could go grab a hand plane and try that. The problem is these boards are really thin. They're flimsy. You see how if I put this plane on here, the board bends down and the blade doesn't engage because it's cupped underneath where it's actually cutting. Now I could come in with a spoke shave, but with its narrow sole, I can scrape off the wood and I can get to what's underneath and clean it off. But if that's in the middle of the board, I'm busting up my knuckles. And a lot of crates are really big, so I can't put them on a bench to bring over tools. I need to take the tool to the box, and that's where the box scraper came out. So let's take a closer look at this. It has a wooden handle, and I've seen a lot of them with a collar on here, but this one doesn't have one. And I don't know if it's fallen off or not. There is a pin that actually goes through the tang, so you don't really need the collar. But it's interesting to see that this one doesn't have it. The sole on this is actually cambered side to side as well as front to back. And so it's rounded this way as well as this way so that the high spot is right here behind the iron. The iron is also cambered to match that. It's an ever so slight curvature to the sole. Not much, but enough so that it will bend to match the wood as it flexes. There's really nothing to setting this thing up. It's just an iron that runs into the slot, and then you hammer tighten it down into place. The sole doesn't even have something flat, it's just those two pieces sticking up to hold it in there. Slide it down in until it's where it needs to be, tighten this up and take a hammer in there and tighten it a little more if it needs it. Its name is a bit of a misnomer as it's not actually a scraper. A scraper has a 90-degree or a lower angle as it runs through the wood, whereas this is just like a plane in that the iron is reclined back and it's actually at a fairly low angle. It's a little lower than 45 degrees. And so when you sharpen these, you need to have a really, really fine angle like 20 or 25 degrees. But with the slightly narrower body, I can still push on this, and with the flexing, it'll still take a shaving. And this particular one isn't box 14 anymore. So I can scrape off that section, but sometimes pushing just doesn't work very well. The nice thing about this is I can flip it over, rotate it, and now I can do the exact same thing pulling. And even with this dull iron, I can wipe that name off there, and I can spray paint on my name. This was honestly really disappointing me because the iron on this is so stinking soft. Look at this, I'm sliding my finger over it. I actually just sharpened this just before the video and tested it out on a couple other boxes and played around with it. And in like 40 or 50 strokes, it's dull already. And so yeah, I mean the steel on this isn't really good, but this is not a woodworking tool. This is something that you would have in the warehouse to scrape off a box so you can spray paint your own name on there. If you've been around any tool shows or places where you can find antique tools, you're gonna come across a bunch of these. They were actually relatively common. You saw them quite a bit. But in the wood shop or the hand tool shop, it's not something you're really going to need that much. If there's something woodworking that you could do with this, then there's probably a better tool like a spoke shave or a standard plane or a card scraper. So there really isn't a great use for it, but it is kind of interesting and a little bit of fun to play with. And you can pick these up for almost nothing because they're really common and no one really has any particular use for it. So if you ever find one, pick it up and reuse your Amazon boxes, right? Yeah, it doesn't work really well for that. So there you have it, the box scraper. It's a fun little tool. It's just kind of interesting and being able to pull or push. And yeah, does it have any particular use? No, but it is a lot of fun and there's some interesting history to it to see that the people in the past are really similar to the people nowadays. They have the same desires and functions to reuse things, just do it differently. So yeah, have a little bit of fun in the shop, go experiment, and if you see one, pick it up and see what you can do with it. Maybe you can actually find a use for it when making furniture. Or maybe it'll just hang there on the shelf and look pretty and people can say, what is that? And you can tell them what it is now. So I hope you like it. If you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, snide remarks, throw those down below. Honestly, I do like some of those weird comments. And if you have any other particular history on this, would like to let me know, throw those down there. I do love reading about them and I learn a lot from the comments. So thank you for that. But if you want to help us out even more and really help this channel grow, then think about joining these people over here. Those are some of the patrons on Patreon. Between patrons and members and people who click that join button down below, you guys sponsor this channel. You make everything happen. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So thank you. If you'd like to find out more about that, you know what to do. Links, description, comments, buttons, push. Thank you. Fun. So I think that'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day. This is the tool that they use when the boxing match gets really close and one of them just happens to scrape by.